Welcome to Everyday Cooking with Ann. We're in the midst of winter and there's nothing better than comfort soups to make you just feel warm and cozy, and this is one of my favorites and my husband's too. It's French onion soup. It's very authentic. It's, if you've ever seen Gruyere cheese, which is a Swiss cheese, it's also found in the French Quarter there. So it is going to be Gruyere cheese, which will be on top, and of course we're going to do croutons and different other ways to show you how to make your own authentic French onion soup. But let me tell you how we're going to get started first. I'm going to show you the huge, large, these are sweet onions. You can use yellow onions. I'm using sweet onions because I think the flavor is going to be better. The recipe calls for 8 yellow onions. Now I'm honestly, you can see how many onions I've made. This right here is only 3.5 onions this size. So I'm going to put one more in here and call it good. I think that's going to be plenty of onions. So let me just show you. I take this onion, and it's quite a large onion. You can use smaller onions if you want, but I just slice them as thinly as possible, like this, all the way through until the whole onion is done. You don't want to have it too thick. You can see how many onions we're actually putting together. Now I believe this soup will probably feed 6 to 8 people a nice hearty serving. And you could probably serve one of my special really nice green salads to go along with it for a very memorable meal. And of course you have to like onion. But let me tell you, this onion is not going to taste oniony. It's going to be caramelized, as I'll show you how to make that in just a moment when we're finished here. Okay, I'm going to cut this into smaller pieces here, and we'll be ready to go. Meanwhile, I've also minced some garlic over here, which we'll be putting in a little bit later. And I've also grated some of the Gruyere cheese. Let me just show you what it looks like. It's the very most top quality Swiss cheese you can buy. You can use Emmentaler as well, and you could also substitute Jarlsberg cheese in this soup as well. So however you'd like to do it. This is what it looks like. We've already put just half of it, and look at the volume already, but this is what it looks like when you buy it in the store. So that's how it looks. Okay, now we're going to come over here. I've got my pot ready. This is a nice big ceramic pot. I like to use this for any kind of soups I make because they don't burn anything. They're just a great quality piece of equipment to use in your kitchen for all kinds of things, but mostly soups and stews and things like that. So I've already melted 1 cube of butter. That's 8 ounces of butter in the bottom of my pot. And now I'm going to be adding in these onions. And you're just going to want to take the onions and make little rings out of them. This is a lot of onion. But these will cook down quite a lot. It's going to fill the whole pot right now. Okay, I'm going to start just moving these around a little bit. I may actually put a little bit more butter in here. Now, this is going to have to cook down. I'm going to probably show you in about 5 minutes what it looks like, but this is going to take anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes to completely caramelize. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So we'll be back in a little while. I'll show you in different stages what it looks like. Okay, this onion has been cooking down for about 15 minutes. I've been stirring this almost constantly because you do not want any burned onion on the bottom of this pan. I put a little bit more butter in because I thought it needed it. Maybe it doesn't, but it can't hurt just because we have so many onions. Okay, what I'm going to do now is halfway through cooking your onions, you can see they're becoming nice and soft. And I just have been stirring these in with the butter as I stand at the stove. You might want to get some helpers at home to help you with this part to keep it going. This is a little bit labor intensive just because you have to keep stirring so nothing scorches. I'm now going to add in about a tablespoon of sugar. This is going to help caramelize the onion, and I have about 3 minced garlics here too. That's going to give it lots of great flavor. I'm going to add this in. And we're going to come back probably about 10 more minutes and see how it's going, and see how much longer we need to go, so you can see exactly how these onions need to look before we add the other yummy ingredients. Okay, I've been stirring this every couple of minutes for about the last half hour, and it's just barely starting to turn brown. Okay, so we're going to wait another couple of minutes until it's a kind of a dark caramel brown, but at this point right now they could turn brown fairly quickly. You can see there's some nice brown pieces down here, and we're just waiting for this to turn a little bit darker before we add the rest of the ingredients. Okay, we've been going here for about 45 minutes, so I think we're going to go ahead. It's not as dark and caramelized as I'd like it to be, so I don't know what happened here. I've let it kind of sit for a while and stir periodically, but we're going to go ahead and finish anyway because I think it's going to taste delicious. I'm going to go ahead and put 3 tablespoons of flour into the mixture, and this is going to be our thickening agent when we add our beef stock and chicken stock. We're going to be adding both into here. Okay, and now we're going to add some of our seasonings right now. We have a teaspoon of ground thyme. That's a really important ingredient. And we also have some fresh thyme that I'm going to strip off of here and put in. The way you do that is to take it and go the opposite direction and just pull it off right like that into here. A couple of sprigs of that. I'm going to add a little bit more of that later. I'm also going to add a little bit of herbes de Provence. This is also going to add some extra flavor. Herbes de Provence. And some to taste. So I'm going to add first just a half a teaspoon of salt and pepper. Let's stir this up nice and mix that into this what it does is when you put spices in before you put your liquid in, it kind of sweats with the onions and infuses the mixture with a lot more flavor. So I usually add the spices right ahead of time like this. You can see I'm kind of scraping the bottom here where it is starting to caramelize a little bit more now. Okay, and now I'm going to add 4 cups of beef stock. And also 4 cups of 32 ounces of chicken stock. So this is going to be a nice healthy serving to have all week long if you don't have a big crowd to feed, and it probably will age very well in the refrigerator as you reheat too. I'm also going to put a couple of bay leaves in here because we're now going to let this soup, stir the soup and let it simmer for about 20 more minutes to meld all the seasonings and spices and the flavor. Throwing in a little splash of Worcestershire sauce as well for some extra flavor. We'll be taking out the bay leaves before we're ready to serve it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this lid back on and let this simmer on about medium for about 20 minutes. Now ahead of time we have gone ahead and we make our own artisan bread, which is a very crusty loaf of bread with a nice soft interior. And if you want to go to my other video, you can learn how to make these croutons out of crusty bread. You can also buy artisan bread that has a crusty back, and you can use croutons, or you can use just a slice of bread toasted that's going to go on in your bowl on top of your soup, and I'll show you how that will look later. But these, we decided to just use nice crusty croutons. We've let these sit overnight for a day. They'll be perfect in our soup to soak up all that flavor, and we'll be adding the cheese on top. We'll show you how to do that. But to make these, you just put a little bit of olive oil and butter and saute it together with some garlic salt. This has been simmering for about 15-20 minutes. I'm now dishing up into our bowl lots of this yummy onion with all the yummy spices, the thyme, the salt and pepper, herbes de Provence, a little bit of Worcestershire. Okay, we're going to take this over here and we're going to be putting this on a tray because this is now going to go in a hot oven. I'm going to go ahead and put the croutons on top first. Okay, over here too. Then we're adding this very yummy melty Gruyere cheese that we already grated. I'm going to now put this into a 400-degree oven and melt it completely. And then I'll show you what it looks like when I take it out of the oven. Just taken our soup out of the oven. It's nice and caramelized on the top. As you can see, the cheese is melted. Here's the bread. Here's the onion. All ready to take your first bite. This is kind of hot right now, so I'm going to wait to take my first bite. Oh, it looks so tempting and so delicious. I hope you'll enjoy this video and try this soup out. It'll be wonderful. Thank you. If you want to learn how to make these croutons for your soup, you can go to my crouton video at the corner of this video.